All right, guys, I am alive and focused. Well, trying to get focused. There we go. Focus on this game pretty much. Just like you guys are. Waiting on the start of the championship game. We got Alabama and Clemson Part 4. And it's pretty much what we expected. I mean, let's be honest, 90% of us who uh, who are big college football fans. Oh, come on, need you to stay with me. Hold on, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I'm guessing probably like I was saying, 90% of us college football fans at the beginning of the season, we kind of figured this is where we would end up with another Clemson and Alabama run in. Now, after last year, some folks thought, okay, maybe Clemson, they may be done. They made their run. Got in the playoffs. 2, 3 years in a row. But the fact that we were able to keep them out the end zone totally last year, only giving up 2 field goals. Pretty much dominating the game. People thought that Clemson, may be done. But you know what? That top that defensive front four, they decided to stay put. A lot of those guys could have went to the NFL last year. They chose to come back, and they're good. They're really, really, really good. And I'm gonna get into those guys in a second here. But hey, guys, I'm gonna do something a little different this time. My first video, it was way too long, and please forgive me. I'm new at this. As you can tell, I can't even get the doggone film to stay focused here. Let me see if I move in, move down, move around. Okay, I have to stay in this position. I'll try it like this. Well, what I'm gonna do is this time I'm just gonna give a quick analysis before the game starts. Like I said, we're about what does that clock say? 7:59. So we're a minute away from kickoff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give a quick analysis, what I feel is gonna go, the way it's gonna go down, and you already know who I'm pulling for. If you see the banner in the back and the hat and my attire, which I'm probably gonna change throughout the game, by the way. And so yeah, I'll start off by giving my analysis, and what I'll do is I'll just come back like the last 5 minutes of each quarter and just kind of give my breakdown of the way that it's gone down thus far and what we probably can expect the rest of the way, which should be fun because there's a good chance I could be wrong, about the way things play out. But my concern is that we win the game. That's all I want. Obviously, I'm a Bama fan, but being a fan and being honest, you know, uh, sometimes the two, you know, if I say that I'm a Bama fan, and you ask me for my honest analysis on the game, I'm gonna tell you that I believe we're gonna win. You know, so but that's because these two teams they're really evenly matched. You know, when you think about the way that Dabo has built his program over there. I mean, they got a lot of good things going on for them. A lot of good things. But my breakdown, let me say my determining factor for the winner of the game, I think it's going to come down to Alabama's defense, their defensive four, and if they can get pressure and confuse their quarterback, their freshman quarterback. That's the important part of it. By him being a freshman quarterback, here's my breakdown of it. He's done well all season, but he hasn't faced a defense like ours. Now, honestly, our defense this year is not the best that we've had. And that's just me being honest. I don't mind telling the truth. The defenses that we've had in the past, like last year and the year before that, that 2016 defense, which is considered to be like one of the best defenses that college football has ever seen. We're just not living up to that, not quite that standard, because back then we had a defensive four, that could take over the game. And right now, we mostly have Quinnen Williams, and the other guys are good. Don't get me wrong, but that defensive line really depends heavily on his play. Okay, can we still stop the run? Yeah, we can still stop the run, and we can still get after the quarterback. But it's nothing like the previous two defenses that we've had. So with that being said, even though we're not the same defensively as we have been, still he's a freshman and he hasn't seen a defense like ours. So he's done well up until this point. So we'll see, you know, if Dabo has him totally prepared for what he's about to see tonight. So and that's that's really the defining moment for me, because we're going to stop the run. I know Etienne is a great running back, but our team is built around playing defense first. We play defense and we run the ball, so we're not afraid of good quarterbacks. I mean, good running backs, so great running backs. That's what we live for, to shut those guys down. So when we do that, the question is, can Trevor Lawrence make the passes that he needs, to pull the game out for Clemson? And I'm hoping that he can, and I'm kind of betting that he can't, but I could be wrong. So that's really my key to victory for us. Well, for both actually. Whoever wins that battle will win the game. So that's where I am right now. So anyway, I just want to keep that short. And like I said, I'm not going to draw the video out like I did before. I had a hour and a half long video, which was my first one, and that was way too long. So I'm just going to come to you at the end of each quarter. And for the fourth quarter, because I'm anticipating it being tight, what I'll do is I just let the video run probably the last five minutes of the fourth quarter, to the end of the game to close it out. And and I'll probably, well, not probably, I'll definitely give my analysis at the end of the game. So that's how we're going to run it. All right, guys, enjoy the game. All right, folks, I just had to jump back on here because just like that, we got a tie game 7-7. Obviously, when we threw that pick six, I was sick. I'm like, okay, that's not the way we wanted to start the game off. But move my chair back here. Yeah, definitely didn't want to start the game off with a pick six. But I wasn't really that worried because, I mean, Tua and we have four really dynamic receivers. And Judy, the one that just caught the touchdown pass, that's been his number one guy all season long. This is what they do. They throw the ball vertically better than anybody in the country. So I wasn't really that concerned once we got the ball because we were moving the ball. Clemson had the ball first. We stopped them. We got the ball and we were moving it. And for whatever reason, they were not on the same page when he threw the pick six. But on the second possession, you saw how special they are when they are on the same page. So I was more pissed than worried because I know what they're capable of. So after 3 minutes, we got a tie game just like we started the game. All right, so yeah, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. All right, folks. We are finally at the end of the first quarter. And I just wanted to jump back on here, man, and pretty much ask you, are you entertained? I mean, this is more action than I thought I was going to see in the first quarter, I mean, honestly, what we've seen thus far is a game full of scoring and action, that I thought would be spread out, over 4 quarters. But, man, they're putting it up early. But I expect it to slow down, as we get closer to the fourth quarter. The guys are going to get tired, so it won't be as much scoring, I don't feel. Or, then again, if the defense, because they're tired, starts to move a little slower and starts giving up more points, then, the game could be won like that. But nevertheless, I think, that the teams are going to settle down probably in the second quarter, but definitely by the second half. But, man, fireworks. That's the one word that I would use to describe the first quarter, man. Fireworks. I mean, not the start that I wanted, where Tua threw a pick six, and then they came right back and threw a bomb to Jerry Jeudy, because that's what Alabama does. And then what I did not expect, well, I didn't expect the interception to start the game, but I also didn't expect Clemson to come right back with a bomb down the middle of the field of their own and cap it off with I guess inside the 10-yard line rushing touchdown. But then we responded like we do we just drove the field pretty much, by running and mixing in the pass, and everything we did worked, which should have tied up the game at that point until we missed the extra point. But then we stopped them and we got the ball back, and right now we are down inside the 10, but we seem to be shooting ourselves in the foot right now. We had a penalty, and then we got it back down inside the 5, and now we just, we tried to do a little shovel pass to Damien in the middle, and they called us on that. So now it's 4th down, and we got to kick the field goal, unfortunately. So woo, he barely got that field goal through there. All right, so it's 16-14 at the beginning of the second quarter. So that's where we are. So, like I said, I think maybe the teams will settle in, and, it'll probably be less scoring maybe the rest of this half. But there will be more scoring, but not as often. But to this point, I have to say Clemson is very much game. I didn't know they could throw. Well, I didn't think they would be able to throw the ball on us the way that they have on everybody else throughout the season. So, but I tell you, that just further supports my statement earlier about our defense not being as great as it has been in the past, because we don't give up passing plays, 50 plus yards down the field. We don't normally do well. In the past we haven't, but this defense here is a little bit different. So I'm pretty sure that's something Nick is going to have to, I know he's going to yell at him about it during halftime. But we still got another quarter before then, so we'll see if they can straighten things out before then. So he just kicked the ball out of bounds. Crap. All right, so Clemson's got the ball now. They're going to get it at the 35 because we just kicked it out of bounds. That's a ridiculous penalty. I mean, that's one of those unforced penalties that, can kill you, when you talk about field position. But anyway, so we're getting started with the second quarter here, and I'll see you guys at the end of this, right before the half. All right, guys. It is finally halftime, and well, this game is not going anything like I expected. Right now, score is 31-16. That's a halftime score. And right now, Clemson, they're just playing much better than we are. They really are. They're playing better defense. And we're the team that's known for playing defense, and they're outplaying us in that in that category. And
offensively, man, they are. I mean, we forced them to punt maybe a couple of times, but outside of that, they're just taking the ball right down the field on us, man. And roughly half of their points, 14 of the points that Clemson have, came off of our mistakes. We turned the ball over twice. That's pretty much the story. I think you can say at this point, our two turnovers were turned into two touchdowns for them. That's 14 points. Okay. I'm not sure what Tua is seeing. Let's see if I can cut this down. 1 second. All right, that was Lil Wayne going off in the background. But yeah, right now the story of the game is the two turnovers that that Tua threw. You know, he threw two picks. One was returned for a touchdown, and the other one was turned into a touchdown as they drove the ball down and completed that drive. So right now, I mean, if we don't correct the defense, on defense, we look confused. We look confused, and that's hard to say for Nick Saban team. I mean, like I told you earlier when I started this video, Nick Saban's teams are built on defense. Defense is what we do. And offensively, we run the ball, and that's how we control the game. And right now, Clemson is doing exactly what they want to do when they want to do it. And we don't seem to have an answer for them right now. We look confused because we are confused. Let me just say that. If we look confused, it's because we are. They're not. They're not pretending. They are confused in that secondary right now. We're not getting any pressure on the quarterback, which I also stated would be a key point. You know, by this guy being a freshman, you know, we can get in there and show him some different looks and force him to make some mistakes. But in actuality, it's been them forcing our QB, Tua, to make some mistakes as he's thrown two picks already. So right now, whatever it is that Tua is seeing or not seeing, I hope they clear that up during halftime because it's on the verge of becoming a blowout. It really is. In the second quarter, well, let me start by saying this. In the first quarter, it was pretty much a tied game except for the extra point that we missed, which made it 14-13. But in the second quarter, they outscored us 17-3, and that three that we got was was the first play of the second quarter because we were down inside the 5, which that was a big mistake right there. It should have been a touchdown, but penalties. Penalties once again shot us in the foot. You know, going back to the Oklahoma game, right before the half, we had 3 penalties, back to back to back, that I think kept us from scoring a touchdown. And I think we had to settle for a field goal in that game right before the half. And here we are, you know, still making mistakes. You know, we were down. Najee Harris had gotten us all the way down there. We fed him and rode him all the way down there. He almost scored when he reached out, you know, to try to hit the goal line, but he came up just short. And so at that point, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to score in the next play. If not the next play, we're going to get in, you know, if it's 2 plays from now. We're going to bang that ball in there and get a touchdown. But no, we had a penalty, pushed us back. Then we ran a couple more plays, and their defense just stood up because of, I guess they knew what we were doing, or they just beat our offensive line. Let me say that. We tried to do a shovel pass, and that got stopped. But the penalty didn't help, and we ended up settling for a field goal. And that was at the top. That was at the top of the second quarter. And outside of that, we didn't score. We didn't score anymore. And they went on to score 17 points in the second quarter. So right now, it's just not looking good. I mean, the one thing we're really doing good enough, I would say, but could possibly do better. Let me say this: the best thing we're doing right now in this game is running the ball. We're running the ball. Josh Jacobs is doing this thing. Damian, he's in there. Najee Harris is running the ball too. We just need Tua to stop, making bad decisions, and not recognizing the blitz when it's coming. That sack that they had, where Tua got hit from the blind side, if he had been paying attention, he would have seen it coming, and dropped the ball off to Najee Harris, who ran over behind on the same side that the blitz was coming from. Najee Harris, he obviously recognized it because as soon as he took off, he started calling for the ball, but Tua was looking the other way and never saw the blitz, never saw Najee, and he got blasted. He got blasted, and we ended up giving the ball back to them. So Tua, Tua's got to do a better job with his reads. Bottom line, he's got to do a better job with the reads right now. And our defense, we got to play better than this. We got to play a whole lot better than this. Because if not, it's going to be a blowout. It's going to be a blowout if we don't get this thing turned around at the half. So hopefully right now Nick is in there chewing them out, but getting them back where they need to be. Because I don't think they're focused. Somehow they're losing focus. I mean, you saw the, who was it, McKinney with the dumb late hit out of bounds after the guy caught the ball and ended up costing us, another 15 yards on top of the catch. So, right, I think they're losing a little bit of their focus because because they're getting beat right now, so the defense needs to be gathered together right now and told, okay, hey, we're not playing well, but the game is not over. We can still turn this around, and we can because it's one half of football, and if anybody knows that, it's us, Alabama. I mean, for whatever reason, the title game last year we were down 13-0, when we bounced back, although we made a quarterback switch. And then in the Georgia game, the second Georgia game in the SEC title game, just at the end of the season, we were down there. we made the quarterback switch again. So I don't know if it's going to come down to this. Hopefully, like I said, Tua can turn this around because we got some weapons, on the outside that we just, we proved on the first touchdown, how powerful and lightning quick our receivers are. We got to use these guys. Get down the field, start stretching the field again. Although that second interception he threw, him and Judy apparently weren't on the same page because it looked like Judy was still going straight or maybe cutting in, and he threw it to the back. So I don't know, but the point is we have way too many weapons, and we're way too talented to only have 16 points on the board. We have got to straighten this out. Okay, time of possession is double. Clemson, they doubled us up on that. They're 40-plus minutes, and we're 19 and some change. So they're controlling the game. They're controlling the game, not just by the scoreboard, but time of possession. They're doing whatever they want to do on offense. When you're running and passing the ball well, the game is in your favor, and it's reflecting that in the score. So it's that's foreign for us because normally we're on that side of the stats, and it's right now things are just flip-flopped. So we got to bring this thing back together before it really gets out of hand. I mean, we're down by 14 right now. 15 right now. It's still within reach. Like I said, we've been down before at the half to good teams. So we can bounce back from this, but we've got to, whatever those problems are, hopefully Nick has gotten them all ironed out at halftime as Clemson just kicked off to Alabama just now to start this second half. So I'm going to let you guys go so you can enjoy the game, and I will get back with you at the end of the third quarter. Hopefully things will be a little bit different. Okay, let's get this over with. I'm I'm not sure what I just watched. The last, you know what? They beat us down. It wasn't a loss. We didn't lose the game. We got our butts handed to us. That's what happened. The better team won. The better team won. And it's not often you can say that about an opponent of Alabama's. They beat us in every phase of the game. Offense, they on offense they did what they wanted to do. Our defense didn't have an answer for what was going on out there on the field. We our defense looked confused. That was the first half, and I thought, when they came out in the second half, I thought we would see a different type of defense, some type of resolution to the points that we were giving up, and not being able to get off the field or what have you. But you know what? It was just more of the same when the second half came. And to make matters worse, we didn't score. We got shut out in the second half of the game. And you know what? Not just the second half. The last time we scored, it was the first minute of the second quarter. So you can really say that they shut us out for 3 quarters. 3 quarters. We really didn't score. And that was a field goal. That was a field goal. That should have been a touchdown because we shot ourselves in the foot with a penalty that pushed us back. We were on the goal line and could not get in. Watching that game, it was, to me, it was like they were wearing each other's jersey. Like Clemson was really Alabama and Alabama was Clemson. That's how I felt. But honestly, we got our butts handed to us. I'm not going to make any excuses. None at all. When I look at the total yards, here's the thing. We were able to move the ball, but it was like whenever we got in the red zone, just self-destructed. Total yards were very, very close. That's somewhat telling. If Clemson had 482 yards and Alabama had 443 yards. So it's a difference of 40 yards, for the game. So that we were moving the ball. We were moving the ball, especially on the ground. That was something that worked the entire time. But like I said, once we got into the red zone, we just self-destructed. And I told you guys in the beginning when I started the video right before the game that this defense was not as good as previous defenses. And tonight was evident of that. It was evidence of that. I'm sorry. I think they put a stat up there at the bottom of the screen saying in the Nick Saban era, we've never ever lost by more than 14 points, and it's happened 3 times. 3 times we've lost by 14 points, but we've never lost by more than that. We never lost by more than 14 points to anybody. And tonight we got flat out embarrassed. So that just supports my point that the defense was not on par with what we had last year or the year before that. Now, Quinnen Williams, he's a great interior lineman. And I take nothing away from him. He is great. He is wonderful. But we don't have enough players like him on that line. In the past, we've always had like 3 guys that good, to complement each other. But this year it was really just Quinnen, and I don't know what happened to Anthony Jennings because last year, I don't know if you guys recall this, I think it was in the Clemson game in the playoffs where he got hurt because he wasn't able to play in the championship game. But in that the semifinal against Clemson, he single-handedly just about took over that game. I think he had like 3 sacks, and on top of that, he had like maybe 4 or 5 QB hurries. You know what I'm saying? So I was really looking forward to see what Anthony Jennings was going to bring to the table this year. And throughout the year, he's been okay, but in the playoffs, this game here, I just didn't see a lot. I didn't see what I was used to seeing. And I'm not saying he was bad, but they didn't call his name a whole lot. And I don't think he had a sack. If he did, I don't recall. But we didn't have the defense that we've had in the past, and that was always my worry. You know, even though we won the Oklahoma game, we gave up 34 points. You know, and we don't do that. Even when we're winning, I mean, we normally keep our foot on the pedal. So, you know, that was something that should have been a red flag, you know, not to just me, but all Alabama fans, you know. Looking at what Clemson has done all year, our defense was going to have to be at its best. And like I said, this defense was not the same as what we've had in the past, you know, past couple of years. So I was kind of worried, but I thought we would still win because we have the best offense we've had in the Nick Saban era, you know, and in the past, like I said before, we won games just on defense and running the ball. And even though this defense is not as great, I figured, you know, Tua passing the ball the way he has all season, I figured we would take the field and, you know, we would outlast them. You know, I was thinking a 10-point win, you know, somewhere around there, you know, but wow, I think Clemson shocked everybody, I guess, except for the folks over there in South Carolina. So this, you know, it's shocking, but you know what? It's a lesson. It's a lesson to all of us, especially me. You know, I always thought that the ACC was not weak because, I mean, you know, Clemson has been in the playoffs, you know, the past 4 years now, you know. But it just seems like it was Clemson and, you know, everybody else. So I figured, you know, they were second to the SEC because, I mean, you know, the SEC, we're still the SEC, and teams in the SEC are getting better, you know, catching up to Alabama, you know. And when you go to the ACC, you know, it's really just Clemson. And I figured that, you know, they will always be playing, even though they got us, you know, a couple of years ago with Deshaun Watson. I figured, okay, they got theirs, but, you know, we'll come back and we'll beat them, you know, and they'll continue to come to the playoffs. But if they meet us, you know, continually, I figured we would edge them out. You know, they would get that one win that they got, you know, but we would just continue. We would get back, you know, on that winning track in the title game, you know, if we faced an ACC opponent like Clemson again. You know, I figured we would find a way to find a way to win, you know, just take whatever their best is and, you know, just outscore them, you know, and just kind of put our dominance, you know, assert our dominance on them, you know, even though they are Clemson. But Clemson has shown me that they are on our level. That was not just, you know, a one type win scenario and them just coming back to the playoffs just to be in the playoffs. No, when they come to the playoffs now, they're there to win it just like us. So now, I mean, we we have to be concerned now. You know, the way everybody has built their teams to face us, now we have to look at Clemson, you know, look at what they did to us tonight and understand that, hey, you know what, we got to look at this videotape and see how they played us and be on the lookout for that, because you know what, everybody across the country saw that game tonight, and they're going to use it as a blueprint against us, going forward. So now we have to be prepared, to see, that style of play, because we got dominated. We got dominated on the line, which normally belongs to us. So that's the hard part that I have, dealing with. We build our teams, to dominate the line of scrimmage, and then we just, kind of wear you down. We run the ball on offense. Our offensive line wears you down, and then on defense, we wear you down. We invade your backfield, and we control the game. But you know what? Everything that we live by was used against us tonight. And hey, we now we don't just have to deal with Georgia and up and coming Florida, because they look like they're on the come up the way they beat Michigan in the bowl game the other day. But we have to deal with Clemson for some years to come. You know, hopefully, Nick Saban will stick around, because I like to see him get, another two, to really put a stamp on his career, and solidify himself as the best coach ever, which I think he's still there even with this loss tonight. But I really wanted him to get that one tonight, so he would be the first team to get the 15 wins, in what a century or so, whatever the record is or whatever. But yeah, as long as Nick Saban is there, we're gonna be fine. But the competition is going to get a lot stiffer now, and we've got to wake up. I think we got a young team. We got a young team, and I don't know if you guys heard what they said earlier tonight, which is a concern of mine, which is why we played the way we did. But our secondary, we replaced six guys in our secondary that graduated and or went off to the NFL. We lost six guys off of the defensive squad from a year ago. So really, to make it, and I'm not making any excuses, I don't do that. So for this young team to make it, this young secondary to pretty much have a bend and not break mentality, to get to this point was good. It was a Nick Saban type. It was Nick Saban coaching up his guys like he does. He took those young guys, those new six players, and he molded them into a pretty good defense. But tonight, they got exposed. They got exposed. Like I said earlier, they looked lost on several plays, and it showed. We couldn't stop them. We could not stop Clemson. They did whatever they wanted to do when they wanted to do it. And that's why we have the result the result that we had tonight, 44-16. Wow, that sounds odd. Sounds odd. I mean, that's normally what we do to other folks. We don't have that done to us. So that's it's going to be a learning lesson for us. Real big lesson. I hope we learn a lesson from this, especially the fan base. We're so used to winning. I think a lot of us are spoiled. This needs to be a wake-up call to us right now to understand that it's no longer just the SEC that we have to deal with. The ACC is real. Well, I don't know about the ACC, but let's just say Clemson is real. They're real, and they're coming out of the ACC. And it looks like they're, unless the other teams in the ACC step up, they're going to have a stranglehold on their conference the way that we have on ours. But I think that's starting to change here in the SEC a little bit, with the emergence of Georgia. even though they haven't been able to get past us yet. But they're there every for the past couple of years now. Georgia's been right there, so um, we're dealing with Georgia. We're dealing with Georgia now, and you can add Clemson to that, and with teams making off-season adjustments with coaches and recruiting, pretty soon, we we're going to have to deal with a lot of other teams. That it's going to be hard for us to dominate the way that we have. It's fun. It's fun when we're winning and blowing people out by 20, but when you come up against somebody who's worthy to be on the same field with you, man, it's stuff like this can happen if you're not prepared. And our biggest liability in this game, it proved to be the 6 new faces that we have in the secondary. Unfortunately, that's what it boiled down to because we got beat. They were throwing the ball wherever they wanted to, and they ran the ball on our front four as well. So we lost. We lost the game. We just lost to the better team, unfortunately, and it really pains me to say that because that's something I haven't said. Not since Nick Saban has been there. I'm not used to saying, those words, but it is what it is. I mean, I even went and changed outfits, the hat, the shirt, but that didn't help. Doing everything I can from the comfort of my home to help my team, pull this thing out, but it just wasn't meant to be. So, um, but congratulations to my Tide, for making it this far, for doing what they do. They do it year in and year out. Like I said, I think our fan base is spoiled because we see this almost every year. For us, it's either championship or bust. You know, um, so yeah, you know what? Next year, our fan base, we're gonna expect to be here yet again. Playing for another title. But we want to win it. Well, we want to win it every year, but especially after losing it, we want to win it, really bad next year because this is not the position we like to be in. We're used to winning. So, but anyway, uh, and what I and in addition to us losing, me hating the fact that we lost, I really hate that the game wasn't even competitive. For all the people who really didn't have a rooting interest in the game, they had to sit and watch this, and this is in the history books now. When they talk about teams getting blown out, unfortunately, Bama's name is going to be attached to that, and that just sucks. It really does because Nick Saban teams don't get blown out. Alabama doesn't get blown out. Like I mentioned before, our worst losses under Nick Saban have been about 14 points, and I think that's happened 3 times. So for us to lose by 4 touchdowns, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I'm almost certain that the rest of the time that Nick Saban is planning on being at Alabama, this will never happen again. This is a one-time deal. This is almost like, catching the eclipse of the moon, only happens every so often, you know. And for this, hopefully this is the last time we see anything like this happen to a Crimson Tide squad. Okay. My fan base, we don't know how to act when stuff like this happens, I'm sure. This is uncharted territory for us. You know, this is hard to swallow. And I know tomorrow when I go to the gym, a lot of these guys gonna be talking. I know we were talking today, and now I got to go in there and deal with these guys. But it is what it is. You know, it's not like this happens all the time. So uh, I'll take this butt whooping like a man, and we'll come back and we'll recruit. We'll recruit. Because, hey, I think we have the number one class, number one recruiting class this year.
I mean, for next season already. I think. If not, I know we're top. We got to be top two. I think we're number one this year, if I'm not mistaken, and I think Georgia's right there behind us, something like that. So we're gonna regroup in the off season, and we're gonna fix this problem because, like I told you before, the thing that Nick Saban prides himself off of is playing defense. Everything is built around that, and the way we played tonight, we didn't play a lick of defense. Don't seem like, you know. Uh, just hard to swallow. Hard to swallow. Didn't imagine this. Even if I thought we weren't gonna win, which I didn't think that. I mean, I always said that. I mean, I thought we were gonna win, but I said if we don't win, I didn't expect for it to be a blowout. It would probably be close, a 10 point. It'd be a one score game, whether we win or they win. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody. Even Clemson didn't see this coming, I'm sure. So. But like I said, we lost fair and square. Lost fair and square. So now I just hope we don't hear all the talk about. So we're the two best teams on the field tonight. I don't want to hear all of that because hey, we won all our games. You know, and Georgia's been complaining that they were top five, and then they went and pretty much laid an egg against Texas in the what was it, the Sugar Bowl? Was it Sugar Bowl? Yeah. So um, yeah. So I just hope all that talk doesn't come out. Alabama wasn't one of the best teams. Blah blah blah. And should have been in there. No, no. We play by the rules. We won. We won. We got in the play. We won all our games. Got the number one seed. We won our semifinal, and we made it here, which is the way the playoffs is set up. We play by the rules. We did what we did. We beat teams by 20 all year long. So we deserve to be there. We just didn't play a good game tonight. So, but like I said, we'll correct that in the off season, and we'll bounce back, and we'll be back next season, ready to suit them up and lace them up, and make our quest for another title. All right. So next season. Until then, roll tide.